The alarm doesn't actually go beep, beep, beep. Not anymore. It's the sound of a soft, acoustic guitar riff, the kind that's supposed to ease you gently into a new day. But when it starts playing at 6:45 a.m. in a dark Brooklyn apartment, it feels exactly the same as a fire alarm. Harsh, insistent, a violation. Sam's hand shoots out from under the duvet, no snooze button. Not for him. His fingers find the phone, tap the screen, and the first thing his eyes see, before they've even fully adjusted, is the blue and white glow of a finance app. He swings his feet onto the floor, the old hardwood cold even through his socks. The apartment is quiet, save for the low hum of the fridge and the distant, constant thrum of the BQE highway. It's a nice place, 400 square feet with exposed brick. It costs him $2,900 a month. He can afford it. That's the thing. On paper, Sam Nguyen, 32, a project manager for a mid-sized tech firm in Manhattan, can afford this life. He walks to the kitchen, past the evidence of last night. A single, rinsed-out container from Sweetgreen on the counter. His work laptop still open and glowing on the small dining table, showing a half-finished presentation deck. He opens the fridge. The light pours out, illuminating a mostly empty shelf of few condiments. A carton of oat milk, a six-pack of IPA he's untouched in weeks. He grabs the milk and pours it into a bowl of high-protein granola. He eats standing up, scrolling. His thumb moves on autopilot. Bloomberg, MarketWatch, a newsletter titled The 2025 Fiscal Cliff. He scans headlines about inflation, about the Fed, about another round of layoffs in the tech sector. He feels the familiar knot forming in his stomach right below his ribcage. It's a tight, sour feeling. Anxiety, but a specific flavor. It's the feeling of running on a treadmill that's gradually speeding up, and you're just waiting for the moment you can't keep up and get thrown off the back. He finishes the bowl, rinses it, and places it in the dishwasher that's already full from 2 days ago. He needs to run it, but he's conscious of the utility bill. It's a tiny, stupid thought, but it's there. The mental tax of 100 small decisions. He dresses quickly dark jeans, a merino wool sweater, the uniform of his industry. As he's tying his shoes, his phone pings. It's an email notification. His credit card statement is ready. He doesn't open it, not yet. He already knows what's in there, the January charges. The new winter coat he needed because his old one was fraying. The unexpected dentist bill for a cracked filling. The 4 separate charges from Uber Eats during those 2 weeks he was working until 10 p.m. every night. He grabs his coat and his backpack, steps out into the hallway. The smell of old carpet and someone else's cooking garlic and onions from last night hangs in the air. He descends the 4 flights of stairs, the elevator's been under maintenance for a month, and pushes out into the Brooklyn morning. The cold air hits his face, sharp and bracing. The sky is just beginning to lighten, a dull grayish pink over the row of brownstones. The sound is immediate and overwhelming. The growl of garbage trucks, the hiss of a bus's brakes, the clatter of a metal grate being rolled up at the bodega on the corner. He joins the river of people flowing towards the subway station. Shoulders hunched against the cold, faces lit by the glowing rectangles in their hands. He sees a woman in a puffy coat watching a TikTok with the sound off. A guy in a suit talking urgently into his AirPods. We need those numbers by Eid, no excuses. Sam swipes his Metro card at the turnstile. It beeps, a cheap, tinny sound of permission. He descends further into the earth. The smell changes to damp concrete, electricity, and a faint hint of urine. The train is already packed. He squeezes on, finding a sliver of space near the doors. He's pressed against a stranger's backpack. The train lurches forward and everyone sways together, a single organism of resigned commute. This is the moment. The 27-minute ride into Manhattan. He closes his eyes for a second, but the numbers are still there, burned on the back of his eyelids. He thinks about the dinner tonight. The restaurant is nice, the kind where the menus don't have prices. He'll pay, of course. He wants to. He loves Maya, but he'll be doing a mental calculation with every bite. That's $20. That's $40. The knot in his stomach tightens.
The train pulls into his stop, 14th Street, Union Square. The doors open with a clunk and a hydraulic sigh. He's carried out by the current of people. Up the escalator, Back into the cold, sharper now with the wind whipping between the glass and steel canyons of the city. His office is a 10-minute walk. He passes stores with beautiful, impossible things in the windows. A watch that costs more than his car, sleek laptops. He passes a newsstand, the headlines shouting about politics and crisis. He keeps his head down. He gets to his building, a shiny tower of glass. He taps his ID badge on the reader, a friendly green light and a soft beep. The lobby is warm and smells like expensive coffee and floor polish. The security guard, a man named Carl he's seen for 3 years, nods. "Morning, Sam." "Morning, Carl," he says, but it comes out as a mumble. He rides the elevator up to the 22nd floor. It's quiet, sterile. When the doors open, he's hit with the soft cacophony of an office waking up. The clatter of keyboards, the murmur of early calls, the gurgle of the fancy coffee machine in the kitchen. He walks to his desk, a tidy, standing desk, with 2 monitors. He drops his bag. He logs in. His screen fills up with yesterday's work. The presentation deck, a flood of new emails, a calendar notification for a 9:30 a.m. sync-up. It's now 8:58 a.m. He has a moment. Just him, his desk, and the feeling. He leans on his desk, his palms flat on the cool, smooth surface. He looks out the window. From here he can see a slice of the city, buildings stretching to the horizon. It's a view of opportunity, of success. It's the view he thought he wanted. And a question pops into his head. It's so clear, so quiet, and so terrifying that it cuts right through the noise in his mind. It doesn't feel like his own thought. It feels like it came from somewhere else. What if the game you've been struggling to win was designed for you to lose? The words hang there. He actually looks around, as if someone whispered them in his ear. But it's just him. The game of go to school, get the job, work hard, get the raise, save 10%, buy the apartment, retire at 65. He's followed every rule, he's on the board, he's moving his piece. But the finish line, it keeps moving further away. The raises get eaten by inflation and the city's invisible tax of just existing. The savings feel like a tiny dam against a huge, rising tide. He's working harder, but the goal of real freedom, the kind where you don't check your bank app with a pit in your stomach before a nice dinner, feels more distant than it did 5 years ago. He believes something. He's always believed it. It's the bedrock of his whole life. The lie is so comforting, so deeply woven into everything he does, that he's never even thought to question it. The lie is this: that hard work in this system is enough. That if he just keeps his head down, if he just gets the next promotion, if he just scrimps a little more on the oat milk lattes, he'll get there. He believes the path is linear. Effort in, results out. But what if, in 2025, hard work is just a commodity? Something everyone is selling? What if the real thing that's scarce, the real thing that builds a life of actual choice, isn't about working harder at the old game, but about learning a completely new set of rules? The 9:30 a.m. calendar reminder flashes on his screen. The sync-up. The world snaps back into focus. The noise of the office returns. The knot in his stomach is still there, but now there's something else mixed in. A prickling sense of curiosity. A tiny, fragile crack in the wall of his routine. He takes a deep breath, grabs his notebook, and heads to the conference room. But that question won't leave him. It's stuck, like a splinter in his mind. What if the secret wasn't about earning more money in the old way, but about making the money he already had work in a new, smarter, completely different way? What was that game, and where did he even find the rule book? The day stretches ahead of him, full of familiar tasks. But for the first time in a long time, Sam feels a flicker. Not of hope, not yet, but of a possibility. A door he didn't know was there, cracked open just half an inch. And through that crack, the faintest whisper of a new path, waiting to be discovered. The 9:30 a.m. meeting was about Q1 metrics. Sam sat in the third chair from the left, at the long cool glass table. Sunlight streamed in, catching little motes of dust dancing in the air. His boss, Sarah, was talking about leveraging synergies and optimizing workflows. Sam nodded along, his pen making neat, meaningless circles in his notebook. But his mind was a million miles away. It was stuck on that question from the morning. What if the game was designed for you to lose? He looked around the room. There was David, who'd just leased a new Tesla. Lisa, who was always talking about her amazing weekend trips to the Hamptons. Mark, who wore a different, beautiful Swiss watch every week. On the surface, they were winning. They had the badges of success, the cars, the vacations, the watches. But Sam remembered something from 6 months ago. A quiet, late-night conversation at the office kitchen, refilling his water bottle. David was there, looking tired, really tired. Not just long day tired, but a deep soul-level exhaustion. "Congrats on the new car, man," Sam had said. "It's gorgeous." David had given a short laugh. It didn't sound happy. "Thanks, yeah, it's a lease. You know, the monthly is actually okay. But my kids..."
Sam had just nodded, a nod of recognition in his own stomach. He'd thought David was killing it. But David felt the same way he did. That was the first clue. The meeting ended. Sam walked back to his desk, the plush carpet muffling his steps. He sat down, but he didn't open his email. Instead, he opened a blank document. He titled it, "The Pattern." He started writing down things he'd noticed. Not about finance, but about behavior, about feelings. He wrote, "Asterisk, every time I get a bonus or a raise, what's the first thought?" Asterisk, he thought about his last bonus, $8,000 after taxes in December. He remembered the feeling. It was a surge of relief, immediately followed by a list of wants. Asterisk, finally, I can get that new laptop. I should upgrade my phone. Maya and I can take that trip to Mexico. Asterisk, he'd done the trip. It was great. But now, 4 months later, the memory was a photo on his phone and a zero in his bank account. The bonus was gone, consumed. It had bought experiences, stuff, a temporary escape, but it hadn't bought him any more freedom. It hadn't changed his daily reality. He wrote, asterisk identity, asterisk who was he? When he met someone at a party, what did he say? "I'm Sam, I'm a project manager at TechCraft." His job title was the first thing out of his mouth. It was his label. His worth in his own mind was tied to that title and the number on his paycheck. If he lost that job, who would he be? The question sent a cold chill down his spine. That was the trap. He could see it now, almost like a diagram in his head. It was a loop. Asterisk, asterisk, step 1. Asterisk, asterisk, work hard. Get money. Step 2. Asterisk, asterisk, use money to buy the lifestyle that matches your successful employee identity. Asterisk, asterisk, step 3. Asterisk, asterisk, feel the pressure to maintain that lifestyle. Asterisk, asterisk, step 4. Asterisk, asterisk, need the job desperately to fund step 2. Asterisk, asterisk, step 5. Asterisk, asterisk, work harder, fear losing it more. Repeat, it was a closed loop. A beautiful gilded cage. The money came in, and it flowed right back out, servicing the very identity that kept him trapped. The villain wasn't laziness. Sam worked 50-hour weeks. The villain wasn't even his job. The villain was a silent, invisible belief, a story he'd been telling himself since college. The belief was this, asterisk, asterisk, money is for consumption, asterisk, asterisk. It's for showing you've made it, for comfort, for relief. For keeping up, your paycheck is the finish line. You get it, you spend it, you survive until the next one. The goal is a nicer apartment, a better car, a fancier vacation. The goal is to asterisk look asterisk like you have wealth, not to actually asterisk build asterisk it. The value of those digital tokens shot up. The people who had taken their $5,000 or $10,000 bonus and put it into that ecosystem early, they saw their money grow by 300%, 400%. Some of them made enough to pay off their cars, their student loans, Alex's watch. It still told time. It was still on his wrist. It might have even gone up in value a little bit. When Sam heard that story, it clicked. It was the perfect, painful example of the identity trap. Alex used his windfall to asterisk consume asterisk, a symbol of the old world, the luxury watch, the trophy of the high-paid employee. He missed the chance to use that same money as asterisk capital asterisk fuel to engage with a new, growing trend in the world. He bought a relic. He missed the rocket ship. Sam leaned back in his chair. The office sounds faded, the typing, the phone chatter, the hum of the vacay. He felt a strange mix of sadness and excitement. Sadness because he saw the pattern everywhere, in himself, in his colleagues. The golden handcuffs weren't just on his wrists. They were on his mind, but the excitement, that came from the what if you stopped seeing your paycheck as the end goal? What if you stopped thinking, how can I spend this? And started thinking, how can I weaponize this? What if that $8,000 bonus wasn't a ticket to a vacation, but was treated like a soldier? You wouldn't just send a soldier out to have a good time. You'd deploy it, you'd give it a mission. You'd point it at a strategic target. He pictured it in his mind. 2 columns on a simple spreadsheet. The left column said, consumption. That's where his rent, his groceries, his necessary bills went. That was the cost of living. The right column said, capital. That was different. That was money with a job. Its job wasn't to be spent. Its job was to grow, to attract more money, to engage with new opportunities. His entire financial life had been lived in the left column. He'd never even created the right column.
Meet Sam. For years, Sam saw himself as a consumer. His life was a cycle of earning and spending. A good month meant a new gadget, a fancier dinner, or a weekend getaway. His bank account was like a train station. Money came in, and just as quickly, it left. He wasn't in debt, but he wasn't building anything either. He was simply consuming. The thrill of each purchase was real, but it was fleeting. Like a sugar rush, it came with a crash, leaving him feeling empty and wondering what was next. He was running on a treadmill, putting in the effort, but going nowhere. One quiet Tuesday evening, scrolling through his bank statements, something clicked. He saw the patterns, the endless stream of small and large expenses that added up to his entire paycheck. Each transaction was a choice he had made. A choice to buy a coffee, a choice to subscribe to another streaming service, a choice for a fleeting moment of satisfaction. But what if he made different choices? He wasn't just a consumer. He was the manager of his own money. Every dollar he earned was like a tiny employee waiting for instructions. And for years, he'd been telling them all to go out and buy things that would disappear or lose value. This realization was both terrifying and liberating. He had been the one holding himself back. It wasn't about earning more. It was about directing what he already had more wisely. The world suddenly looked different. A $5 coffee wasn't just a coffee anymore. It was $5 that could be put to work. A $100 dinner wasn't just a meal. It was a potential seed for a much larger tree. This wasn't about deprivation or penny pinching. It was about a profound shift in perspective. He wasn't just a consumer. He was a capital allocator. The CEO of Sam Inc., the term capital allocator sounded intimidating at first, like something reserved for Wall Street titans in slick suits. But Sam broke it down. Capital was just a fancy word for his money, his resources. Allocator meant he was the one who decided where it went. He was already doing this just unconsciously. Now he would do it with intention. His goal was no longer immediate gratification, but long-term freedom and growth. He started to see his money not as something to spend, but as something to deploy. His first step was small. He analyzed his spending, not to judge himself, but to understand. He identified the automatic, thoughtless purchases, the ones that brought him the least amount of real joy. It wasn't about cutting out everything he loved. It was about being intentional. He still enjoyed a good coffee, but maybe not every single day from a cafe. He started making it at home more often. That small change wasn't just about saving a few dollars. It was his first act as a conscious capital allocator. He was redirecting funds from daily expense to future investment. Next, Sam opened a brokerage account. It felt like opening a door to a new world. He started with a simple, low-cost index fund. The amount was modest, just what he'd saved from his coffee experiment. But as he clicked buy, he felt a sense of empowerment he'd never felt from any purchase. He wasn't just buying a stock. He was buying a piece of the future. He was buying a tiny fraction of the world's most innovative companies. His money was no longer just leaving his account. It was going out into the world to work for him, to grow, to build something. This new mindset began to permeate every financial decision. When he thought about upgrading his car, the old Sam would have focused on the monthly payment. The new Sam, the capital allocator, asked different questions. How much will this asset depreciate? What is the opportunity cost of this down payment? Could this money be working harder for me somewhere else? He realized that the true cost of a new car wasn't just the price tag. It was the potential growth he was giving up by tying his capital to a depreciating asset. He decided to keep his reliable older car and allocated the would-be car payment to his investment account instead. He started to view his skills and time as capital, too. He spent weekends learning about personal finance, investing, and different asset classes. He wasn't just watching TV. He was investing in his own human capital. This knowledge compounded faster than any stock. It gave him confidence and clarity. He learned about dividends, and the idea blew his mind. Companies would pay him just for owning a piece of them. It was like his little money employees were not only working hard, but also bringing home their own paychecks, which he could then reinvest to hire even more employees. This was the magic of compounding. The change wasn't just on his bank statements. It was in his entire outlook on life. He felt less anxious about the future because he was actively building it. He felt a sense of purpose and control that had been missing. The desire for shiny new objects faded, replaced by the quiet satisfaction of seeing his investment portfolio grow. Each dollar he invested was a vote of confidence in his future self. It was a tangible expression of hope and discipline. He was building a machine that would one day work for him, giving him the freedom to choose how he spends his time, not just his money. Sam's journey shows us that the most powerful financial tool we have is our mindset. It's the shift from being a passive consumer to an active capital allocator. It's about realizing that every dollar is a choice. You don't need a six-figure salary to start. You just need to start seeing yourself as the CEO of your own life. You are the one who decides where your resources go. Will you direct them toward fleeting consumption, or will you deploy them to build a future of freedom and opportunity? Start small. Look at one expense. Ask yourself if it's truly aligned with the life you want to build. Could that capital be allocated differently? Could it be the first seed you plant in the garden of your future? The journey from consumer to capital allocator is not about restriction. It's about empowerment. It's about trading short-term thrills for long-term freedom. It's about building a life by design, not by default. Like Sam, you have the power to change your story, one intentional decision at a time. The choice is yours. Thank you for watching, and if this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content to help you on your own financial journey. Have you ever looked at your bank statement and just wondered, where did all my money go? I used to do that every single month. But when I finally sat down and added them all up, I was shocked. I was basically funding other people's dreams instead of my own. So I decided to do something about it. I asked myself, does this truly bring me joy or value?
He felt a smile spread across his face, a real, unforced smile. It was the smile of a kid who has just built a rickety treehouse from scrap wood. It's not a mansion, but he built it himself. It's his. This, right here, is the moment. This screen, with the seemingly insignificant number, is where 95% of people quit. They look at the $197 and think, this is pointless. I need thousands to start. This is a joke, the old identity laughs at the small beginning. It wants the big, flashy, all-or-nothing win. But if you're doing this, you're not in the 95% anymore. You're in the 5%. You understand that the first $197 isn't about the money. It's about the proof. It's the proof that you can change the flow. It's the proof that you are in command. You have built your first tool, you have a garage, and in that garage, you now have your first 197 units of energy. They are quiet. They are patient. They are waiting for your orders. The hardest part is over. You've broken the spell. You've stopped the leak. You've created a small, steady stream flowing in a new direction. Now, the most exciting question appears. The question that turns this from a budgeting exercise into an adventure. You look at that $197 and you think, okay, I have my first capital, my first soldiers. The world is full of trends, movements, opportunities in 2025. Which one do I point them towards first? March arrived in New York with a tease of warmth, then a slap of cold rain. Sam's Trend Capital account sat at $311.42. It was a number he checked now with a quiet pride, like glancing at a tiny, well-tended plant on his windowsill. But a new anxiety began to creep in. Okay, I've saved it. Now what? The fear of doing the wrong thing with it was almost as paralyzing as the old fear of having nothing at all. He knew he couldn't just throw it at the first shiny thing he saw online. That was just consumption in a different costume. He needed a system, not a complex Wall Street system, but a simple human one. A daily practice that would turn his curiosity into knowledge and his knowledge into calm, confident action. He called it the daily war, not a war against other people, but a war against his own ignorance, his own impulsiveness, and the overwhelming noise of the world. It was fought in small, 20-minute battles. Battle 1, the morning intel scan, He stopped scrolling through social media or news headlines the moment he woke up. Instead, while his coffee brewed, he would put on his headphones and listen to one specific podcast, The Trend Bank. He played it at 1.5x speed. He wasn't listening for stock tips. He was listening for patterns. The host would talk about things like vertical AI designed for specific jobs like law or medicine, or decentralized physical networks, people owning and sharing things like Wi-Fi hotspots or solar power, or the creator economy middleware, the tools helping creators run their businesses. Words that sounded like jargon started to form shapes in his mind. Then he'd spend 7 minutes on one niche online forum. Not the big, scary ones. He found a small, focused subreddit called RAJI. It was full of developers and engineers talking about running AI on everyday devices instead of in giant, faraway data centers. He didn't understand half the technical talk. That was okay. He wasn't there to be an expert. He was there to absorb the mood, to see what problems people were excited about solving. He looked for the convergence where the podcast S big picture trend met the forum S real world, gritty details. It felt weird at first, like he was a spy in a world that wasn't his. But after 2 weeks, he noticed something. He could follow the conversation. He recognized usernames. He saw a post from someone complaining about the cost of a specific type of microchip, and he remembered the podcast talking about the coming boom in semiconductor manufacturing in Arizona. A connection sparked, faint but real. Battle 2, the weekly deployment ritual. Every Sunday night at 8 p.m., he did this. He made it a ritual. He'd light a single candle on his desk, a silly thing, but it marked the time as special. He'd open 3 tabs, his Trend Capital account, his notes from the week's Intel scans, and a simple, fractional investing app he'd signed up for called Slice. He would review his capital. By April, it was up to $890. The rule was simple. 80% was for deployment into a trend he was learning about. 20% went into a digital side pocket, a high-yield cash fund within the app, earning 5%. That 20% was for patience, for waiting for a clearer opportunity. One Sunday in mid-April, he made his first move. After weeks of reading about Edge AI, he saw a company mentioned again and again. It wasn't a flashy household name. It made specialized software that helped other companies manage AI on smaller devices. On Slice, he could buy a fraction of a single share for about $65. His heart hammered against his ribs. This felt like real investing. The old fear shouted, "Asterisk, you're going to lose it all." But he remembered his rule. This wasn't gambling. This was a asterisk deployment asterisk. It was assigning one of his soldiers to a specific post on a field he had been studying. He typed in $65. He took a deep breath, smelling the warm wax of the candle. He clicked confirm. The screen refreshed. In his portfolio it now said asterisk asterisk company XYZ 0.25 shares. Value $65 asterisk asterisk